I ended my engagement to my fiancée. After she wanted a break to explore her ex, I sold our house and disappeared. Hello everyone, after what feels like an eternity, I, 27 million, decided it was time to discuss what has been going on with me recently. Here's the thing. Until lately, I thought I was marrying the love of my life, Tessa, 26F. We'd been together for 4 years, and for the most part, I thought we were solid. But now I'm sitting here, wondering why I didn't see this coming sooner. Tessa and I met at a birthday celebration, introduced by a mutual friend. She was humorous, confident, and had a no-nonsense approach that I enjoyed. I'd dated previously, but no one connected with me as she did. We hit it off quickly and moved in together after a year. Things felt natural, as if we were all on the same page about professions, marriage, and eventually creating a family. She was a freelance graphic designer, and I worked as a project manager for a technology business, so our schedules were very similar. Life wasn't glamorous, but it was enjoyable. We had been discussing getting married for a time, but it wasn't until last year that I proposed. Nothing fancy, just a simple supper at home for the two of us. Tessa seems thrilled. She cried, hugged me, and agreed. That night, we began to envision our future. A fall wedding, a limited guest list, and this charming little site by the lake. It seemed like everything was falling into place, or so I thought. The initial red flags were little and evident. They were little sneaky flaws that I ignored because I didn't want to overthink. For example, Tessa's enthusiasm for wedding preparation faded after a few months. She was all in at first, sending me Pinterest boards, searching through wedding outfits, and asking about small details like whether I preferred tulips or roses for the centerpieces. But suddenly it simply stopped. I'd ask her questions like, "Hey, have you chosen your bridesmaids yet?" And she'd shrug it aside. "Not yet, I'm still thinking about it," she said again. The same thing happened with her clothing, cake, and music. Every decision we'd been so enthused about had become something she wanted to postpone. "There's still time," she'd say. The wedding seemed like an afterthought. At the time, I told myself it was just stress. Wedding planning can be overwhelming, right? Plus, Tessa had a lot going on at work. I assumed she'd snap out of it eventually. What I didn't realize was that her lack of enthusiasm wasn't about the wedding, but about us. The true slap in the face happened one night while we were out with some friends. Someone brought up the dumb TikTok game, which you've probably seen. It's the one where you have to answer personal questions while keeping a straight face and not passing judgment. Everything was going well until someone said, "If you could relive one relationship, which would it be?" Without thinking, Tessa responded, "Oh, probably Dylan." Just like that. Dylan. Her college ex? The person who cheated on her. The moment she uttered that, the room became awkwardly quiet. She giggled awkwardly and attempted to backtrack, saying, "I mean, not that I'd want to. It's just a significant element of my past." I wanted to confront her right there, but we were among friends, so I let it go. Later, when we were alone, I asked her about it. What was it about Dylan? Why would you choose to revisit that relationship? She simply shrugged it off as if it were no big thing. "It was a stupid game, Liam. Don't take it so seriously." She grinned and shifted the subject. I didn't press it because, honestly, I didn't want to start a battle over something that could have been minor. But, deep down, it stayed with me. Following that, her behavior became more difficult to ignore. She was using her phone more frequently, going through her texts with a cheeky little smile. She began creating vague explanations for why she couldn't hang out or why she would cancel plans at the last minute. "Oh, sorry, I just have a lot of work to catch up on tonight," she'd typically remark. Or it may be, "I promised my mom I'd visit this weekend." The justifications were not particularly suspicious, but they were stacking up. It seemed like I had become less of a priority. Then came Friday night, which changed everything. I arrived home from work early, excited to spend the evening with Tessa. I was hoping we might order in and binge watch something, a quiet night. When I came in, however, the atmosphere seemed odd. She was seated on the couch, holding her laptop, but she wasn't working. She was staring at the screen, absolutely unfocused. "Hey, I'm home," I murmured, hoping to relieve the tension. "You're early," she said, as if it were a negative thing. I shrugged it off and went into the kitchen to begin preparing dinner, but the silence in the house was oppressive. Usually, she'd ask how my day was or tell me about her own. What about tonight? Nothing. Finally, I looked around and asked, "Is everything okay?" She shut her laptop and glanced at me. "Actually, there's something I need to talk to you about." And my stomach sank. You know how you feel when you know something horrible is going to happen but you can't stop it? That was me, standing there like an idiot with a spatula in one hand. I approached and sat across from her. "All right," I said. "What is going on?" She paused, as if she were trying to find the proper words. She just came out with it. "I've been thinking about us." "And about Dylan?" I swear that I almost laughed. "Dylan? Are you serious? What about him?" She bit her lip and avoided my gaze. "I suppose I need some time to consider things through. I'd like to take a break and see whether there's still something there with him." I couldn't believe what I heard. "Do you want to take a break and date your ex? Are you out of your mind, Tessa? We've got engaged." "It's not like that," she responded hurriedly, as if she could smooth things up. "I just want to know if I'm making the right choice with you. And if it doesn't work out, I pledge to come back." That's when I discovered how deep her chutzpah was. She assumed I would sit around and wait for her to decide whether I was good enough. Something inside me moved at that very instant. I did not yell or blow up. I just sat there staring at her, wondering how the hell I hadn't seen this coming. I wasn't sure how to answer at first. My fiancée recently informed me that she wants to take a break to explore things with her ex, Dylan. What can you say to that? Finally, I asked. "So, what does this break mean to you?" My voice came out more calmer than I felt. She straightened up slightly, as if she had been ready for this conversation. "I believe we need some space to figure things out. I'll take some time to see if my feelings for Dylan are genuine, and you are welcome to ponder on us as well." I couldn't believe the audacity. "Wait," I replied, leaning forward. "You're saying you need to date your ex, but I need to reflect on us? What kind of backwards logic is that?" Tessa sighed, as if I were the one acting unreasonable. "It's not about you doing something wrong, Liam. This is about me figuring out what I need." She seemed to have practiced this. The way she spoke, the way she avoided eye contact, it was as if she had already decided this was going to happen and simply wanted me to accept it. "You know this sounds insane, right?" I muttered. "You don't just put your fiancé on hold while you go play what if with some guy who treats you like garbage." Her face tightened, and for the first time, I realized how stubborn she could be. "I'm not asking for permission, Liam, I'm telling you what I need." That one landed differently. I wasn't just sad anymore, I was angry. I stood up and began pacing, hoping to calm myself down. "So what, Tessa? You're just going to pack a bag and head over to Dylan's place? Is that your big plan?" "No," she insisted. "It's not like that, I don't know what it looks like yet, but I need clarity before we move forward. I owe it to myself to know I'm making the right decision." "You owe it to yourself?" I asked, laughing cruelly. "And what about what you owe me?" "We're engaged, Tessa. We're supposed to be building a life together, and now you're telling me you need to test drive your ex to make sure I'm good enough?" "I never said you weren't good enough," she replied, her voice rising. "But if we're going to spend the rest of our lives together, I have to be certain. And right now I'm not." That was it. She wasn't simply interested in exploring things with Dylan, she was also unsure about me. Even after 4 years together and all of our plans, she was still unsure. It struck me all at once. She hadn't realized how painful and stupid her plea was. She believed this was reasonable, that I'd just sit there while she figured out whatever foolishness was going through her head. I stopped pacing and glanced at her, really stared at her. "You know what?" "Sure," I responded, my tone bland. "Take your break." She blinked, surprised by how quickly I agreed. "Liam, I'm not trying to hurt you. I need space to figure things out." I nodded and kept my expression bland. "All right. If that's what you need." She paused, as if she expected me to argue or fight for her. When I didn't, she stood up, took out her laptop, and murmured, "I'll stay at my mom's for a bit. This isn't forever. We'll talk when I've had some time." "Okay," I replied simply. She looked at me, wondering how to answer, and then disappeared into the bedroom. I could hear her moving around and throwing items into a bag. I remained calm on the couch, but my mind was already turning. If she really wants a break, that's okay. Let her have it. Several minutes later, I heard the front door close. She was gone, perhaps believing she had abandoned me here to wait and worry. She had no idea I was not going to sit around and do nothing. She could have her fantasy, but I had other ideas now. I'll provide an update once I've set some things in motion. This is not going to end the way she expects it to. Update 1. Thank you for your feedback and suggestions on my last post. A lot has happened this week, and I'd like to report how things are going. First and foremost, I want to thank everyone in this community for their wonderful support. Many of you mentioned that I don't just sit around waiting, and you were correct. I've been busy putting everything into motion. First, I called my pal Noah. He's been my best friend since college, and he's not the type of man to sugarcoat things. After hearing the full story, he brought over pizza, and we spent the entire night scheming. Dude, you realize she's going to try to crawl back once things don't work out with Dylan, right? Noah reminded him. He was correct, of course. The more we talked, the more obvious it became that I needed to be proactive. This was not about vengeance, it was about regaining control of my life. I began with the house. Tessa doesn't seem to recall that it's entirely in my name. She loves to act as if it's our home, always talking about the curtains and paint colors she chose, yet I'm the one who pays the mortgage. I phoned a realtor first thing Monday morning. The realtor came by to see the property, and we decided to list it right away. The market in our neighborhood is now hot, and we already have several potential purchasers. Tessa has no idea. She probably believes I'm sitting here in our shared home, waiting for her to sort out her feelings. The next step was to gradually remove her from my life. You remember the Live Laugh Love placards she insisted on putting up? Gone. Did she have to have those beautiful throw pillows? Donated. Her clothing and personal belongings that she left behind? I carefully packaged them all up. But this is where I became strategic. Instead of just dropping her belongings off at her mother's house or having her come fetch them, I hired a moving company. They took everything to her mother's house and left a short note. Here's your stuff. Good luck with Dylan. I know some of you may think this is petty, but I disagree. I'm not being vengeful, I'm being efficient. She wanted some room to think things through? Well, she's got it, literally. The most fascinating moment came when mutual friends began asking questions. Instead of playing the victim or slandering her, I simply stated the truth. Tessa decided she needed to explore things with her ex before committing to marriage. I decided I deserve better than being someone's backup plan. You should watch how people respond to that. No drama, no accusations, just facts. It's amazing how rapidly the story changes when you don't try to control it. I've also been making moves at work. I applied for a position at our West Coast office that I'd been considering for a long time. If the house sells, which seems quite likely, and I get this job, I'll be starting over on the other side of the country. Tessa has attempted to contact me several times this week, first with light-hearted texts like, "Hope you're doing okay," and progressing to progressively concerned messages when she learned I was actually making changes rather than simply waiting around. Yesterday, she was in a panic when her mother informed her that the boxes had been delivered. "What are you doing? Why are you acting like this is over?" I kept my response simple. "Because it is over, Tessa. You made your choice, and now I'm making mine." She began crying, claiming that she simply wanted time to figure things out, that I was being quick, and that this was not what she meant when she asked for a break. "What did you expect?" I questioned her. "That I'd sit here like a faithful puppy while you test drove your ex? That's not how this works." "But what if I realize you're the one I want?" She was weeping. "Then you'll have learned a valuable lesson about not taking people for granted," I said before hanging up the phone. The weird thing is that I'm no longer upset. Instead, I feel liberated. Every box I pack, every move I make feels like I'm reclaiming parts of myself that I didn't realize I'd given up. Noah came by again yesterday to assist me with packing the house. He also saw the change in me. "You seem different," he observed. "More focused?" He's correct. I'm different. When Tessa first revealed her desire to pursue things with Dylan, I felt like my world was falling. Now I see it wasn't my world collapsing, but rather the false reality I'd been living in finally disintegrating. I have more things in the works, but I will hold them for the next update. For the time being, I'll simply say this. Sometimes the greatest way to respond to someone treating you as an option is to completely remove yourself from their list of options. Stay tuned. This narrative hasn't ended yet, and I have a feeling Tessa is finding that her break to straighten things out isn't going to go nearly as planned. Update 2. I appreciate all of the feedback on my recent update. Things have escalated significantly, and I'd like to tell you how the situation has evolved. Remember how I mentioned applying for the West Coast position? Okay, I got it. The timing could not be better. The house is under contract, and the closing is slated for next month. But that's only the beginning. What's particularly interesting is how Tessa's Dylan exploration is unfolding. Through mutual connections, I discovered that their restored passion isn't quite the fairy tale she envisioned. Apparently, 4 years haven't changed him much. He's still the untrustworthy guy who cheated on her in college. But here's when it gets good. Tessa has attempted to control the narrative on social media. She has been sharing vague, inspiring phrases about finding yourself and following your heart. So I decided to play the same game, but with a twist. I created a single factual post. Update on my life. Excited to announce I've accepted a position in San Francisco. Sometimes when one door closes, better ones open. Looking forward to this new chapter. The comments and texts began pouring in. People congratulated me, inquired about the relocation, and, of course, wondered about Tessa. I kept my answers basic and honest. We're no longer together. She wanted to explore other options, so I'm exploring mine too. This set off a fantastic chain reaction in our social circle. Remember those friends who weren't sure about the situation? Watching me handle this with grace as Tessa shares cryptic relationship quotations completely changed the atmosphere. Then came the professional consequences. Tessa's freelance design employment is primarily based on recommendations and networking. Sarah, 29F, a mutual contact in the computer field who used to refer many clients to Tessa, contacted me. I need to know what happened, Sarah explained over coffee. Tessa's telling people you're having a temporary separation to grow individually, but something feels off. I shared Sarah Tessa's note about wanting to date Dylan. Sarah's look said it all. She did not believe it. By the end of the week, numerous potential clients had pushed back their projects with Tessa, not because I said anything nasty, but because, honestly, who wants to work with someone who takes commitment so lightly? Tessa sensed the shift. Her texts become more frequent and frantic. Why are you telling people about Dylan? You're ruining my reputation. This isn't fair, I just needed time to think. I answered to the last one. You got what you wanted, time and space, how I spend mine is no longer your concern. Then came the turning point. Dylan, in his wonderful wisdom, shared a photo of them together at the restaurant where Tessa and I had our first date. It was evident she was attempting to recreate our history with him. It was both sad and funny. The post didn't last long, but the damage was done. Our friends witnessed it, and the remaining few individuals who supported Tessa's finding myself story lost respect for her. Even her own sister contacted me. I'm so sorry about how she's handling this. You deserve better. What is the most satisfying part? I didn't have to be vengeful. I simply lived my life freely and honestly, whereas Tessa attempted to play both sides. The truth has a way of emerging. She visited my office yesterday. Dylan seemed to have already revealed his true colors, flirting with other women, being untrustworthy, a familiar story. She was crying. I made a huge mistake, she cried. I was scared of commitment. I thought I needed to know if there was something better out there, but I was wrong. You're the best thing that ever happened to me. I simply gazed at her calmly. No, Tessa. The best thing that ever happened to me was you showing your true colors before we got married. She attempted to argue, claiming that we could fix this, that she would go to counseling, and that she would prove she could be trusted again. I simply shook my head. You don't get it, do you? This isn't about Dylan anymore. This is about you thinking you could keep me as a backup while you explore your options. That's not love, that's convenience. She left my office distraught, but I felt better than ever. The house closes next week, the majority of my belongings are packed, and my new life in San Francisco begins in a month. The funny thing is that some folks think I'm being overly tough. Everyone makes mistakes, they explain. However, this was not a mistake, it was a choice. There are actually several options available. Each time she texted Dylan. Every time, she lied about where she was. She spent every second planning to put our romance on hold. These were all options. I'll provide another update once the move is complete. For the time being, I'll leave you with this. Sometimes the best revenge isn't getting even, but rather getting better. And this is exactly what I'm doing. Next update. Update 3. Thank you for following my journey. This will be my final update, and I have some interesting developments to report. San Francisco is everything I imagined it would be. My new apartment has a stunning view of the bay, and the tech scene here is fantastic. My new office team is fantastic. It's refreshing to be around people who prioritize growth and innovation over drama. But first, let me catch you up on how things ended back home. The closing went smoothly, and the house actually sold for more than the asking price. It was interesting to see Tessa's reaction after finding out through mutual friends. She didn't believe I'd sold the house until she drove by and saw the new owners move in. Here's where it got really interesting. Remember Dylan? He reached out to me, of all people. He sent me a long message about how he never meant to cause problems and that Tessa had contacted him first, months before she requested the break. Tessa had been planning her little exploration for quite some time. She had been messaging Dylan for months, carefully laying the groundwork for her backup strategy. What's with the irony? Dylan ended their relationship because, as he put it, if she could do this to you, she could do it to anyone. Tessa's professional fallout has been significant, Remember all the clients she'd lined up? Most of them discovered other designers, not because I said anything, but because word spreads in the industry. One of her largest clients really contacted me. We heard what happened with the engagement, they told us. We're looking for someone who can commit to long-term projects. Do you know any reliable designers? I recommended a talented acquaintance of mine, and she received the contract. Karma, I suppose. Tessa's social media meltdown has been something to see. Then came the sorrowful quotations about losing your sweetheart, followed by angry posts about toxic people who can't handle growth. Finally, she made urgent attempts to show everyone how delighted she was. The final one was quite interesting. She wrote about beginning her own design firm. 3 days later, she began sending out job applications. Last week, her sister contacted me again. Tessa has apparently been staying with their parents, stating she needs time to heal from our separation. Her sister's exact words were, "She really thought you'd wait for her. When you sold the house and moved, it broke her fantasy completely." The most reassuring moment occurred during a video call with our old friend group. They were telling me about local gossip, and someone described seeing Tessa at a coffee shop, explaining to a potential customer why her portfolio website was down. Apparently, she forgot that I was the one who set it up and maintained it. She couldn't figure out how to restore her hosting membership when it expired. Not my concern anymore. My new life here is coming together well. I've joined a local rock climbing club, begun taking Spanish lessons, and even adopted a dog from a local shelter. His name is Zeus, and he's a greater companion than my ex-fiancée. The tech community here is really inviting. Last week, I was invited to speak at a developer conference, which would not have happened if I had stayed at home. It's amazing what you can accomplish when you're not dragging dead weight. I had one last interaction with Tessa. She sent me an email requesting some old images from our shared cloud storage. I had previously downloaded what I wanted and terminated the account several weeks ago. Her email stated, "I know you're trying to erase me from your life, but you can't just delete our memories. Those 4 years meant something." My reply was simple. "You're right. Those years taught me what I don't want in a partner. Thanks for the lesson." Some mutual acquaintances believe I am being very harsh and should be more understanding of her moment of confusion. However, that wasn't a moment. It was a calculated decision to keep me as a safety net while she pursued what she believed to be a better option. What is the most important thing I've learned from all of this? Sometimes the worst things that happen to you result in the best outcomes. If Tessa hadn't shown her true colors, I could have married her, only to learn her genuine personality years later, possibly with children in the mix. Instead, I'm in a lovely city with a wonderful job, making new friends, and feeling optimistic about the future. The anguish of betrayal has been replaced by thankfulness for the gunshot avoided. Thank you to everyone who has followed the story and offered advice. Your encouragement helped me remain strong when I might have faltered. And for anyone going through a similar situation, know this. When someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. Don't wait around for them to alter their mind about you. Life is too short to be someone's backup plan. Sometimes the best thing you can do is walk away and make things better for yourself. That's it for now, guys. This chapter of my life has officially ended, and I couldn't be more excited for the next one to begin. Take care, and thank you for everything. My ex-husband had an affair with my sister while we were married. He recently sent me an email, and it has been 6 years since we last spoke. About 15 years ago, while celebrating my 18th birthday, I, 33F, met my ex-husband Dan, 40M, in a restaurant. He was indeed mature, friendly, and quite nice. He made me feel unique and cherished. To put that in some perspective, my family was dysfunctional. My dad would occasionally disappear for months and my mom and dad used to quarrel often. He passed away at the birth of my sister Abby, 5-year-old. From Abby's birth, my mother was far more loving of Abby than of me. My mother virtually raised Abby as her baby. She always did her best as a mother and supported me, so I always felt something was lacking even though she hardly neglected me. I felt as though nothing was lacking in my life until Dan entered it. He helped me. He was kind. He would always get me things and drive me for great distances. In his company, I felt whole. 4 years of dating preceded our marriage. Though Dan advised me to get my master's degree and supported me in developing my profession, I wanted a family immediately away. Before we began considering having children seriously, he wanted us to be in a steady financial posture. The best man I could have asked for. 5 years in a happy marriage turned out to reveal that my husband was seeing Abby behind closed doors. When my husband concocted an excuse, that he would be out of town for a week, but stayed in town and reserved a hotel room where he and Abby could have sex, I found out about the affair. 6 months behind my back, this has been continuing. I was rather heartbroken. Growing close was Abby and me. I cherished and looked after her. She could do this to me? Dan and I got into argument following D-Day. Given my sister, who had just turned 19, I questioned how he could treat me. He claimed he no longer loved me, I gave him insufficient attention, and I was not the same girl he had feelings for. I found I was pregnant among this disarray, but I lost the baby from stress. He was on a weekend trip with my sister, not even bothered enough to see me at the hospital when I lost our child. I ought to have spotted the signals. Though Dan would occasionally look at Abby and she would always be sensitive with him, it still bothers me greatly. As usual, my mother supported Abby's side and advised me to simply live with it. Having no one else left, I wanted to die. I lost my husband, my child, my entire family. Then my buddy Tina, my rescuer, showed up. She invited me to accompany her when she was moving to another state. I nodded affirmatively. By then I was divorced, and we lived in a tiny town, so I would naturally run across my sister and ex. It took me some time to adjust to my new life in another state, but I came across some nice folks there that helped me mend some damage. I still find problems with trust. 1 year of relocation to the new house brought me Tony, 32M, my now husband. Though I was somewhat cautious and kept my distance, he proved to me that he loves me a great lot and is reliable. I nearly forgot about the life I had back in my hometown since I was so delighted with him. His parents were really friendly and giving folks. A year ago we were married and I am currently carrying our first kid. My ex, Dan, sent an email yesterday. It simply brought back every negative memory. I'm only copying his email here. He said he is somewhat depressed with my sister and misses me. He attempted to find me but couldn't. Unlike me, she is quite stupidity and doesn't give him any attention. Abby merely texted him happy birthday and neglected to even get him a cake. I used to prepare him one and celebrate birthdays for him. She also disrespects him, is often in the bar with her pals, and is rather nasty. She had also cheated on him 5 times before, he added. The last affair was with his cousin. Our mother lets go on without stopping. He is about to seek for a divorce, but lately he has been absent from me a lot. He wants us to attempt once more as a couple and to have a family exactly like previously. He most likely does not know that I am married and have a baby en route since I just have Instagram, which is private. The grass on his side looks somewhat brown instead of green, so I'm not sure whether I should pity him or just laugh. Update. I wanted to thank you to those of you who messaged and offered support. I have decided to be done with it and email him. Dan, I am sorry to learn you are hurting, but there is no way I could be with you. Indeed, I used to be the girl who would have taken you back in a heartbeat, but that girl is no more present. That girl passed the day I was having a miscarriage. You were somewhere shucking with my sister. You never answered when I phoned you. I live with a fantastic man that loves and values me. Our first child is also en route. I am starting this new phase of my life with someone I love and very care for. Please do not thus get in touch with me ever again. You took a decision. You chose my barely legal sister instead of me. Whether she respects you or chews on you, it makes no difference to me. Anyone like you does not deserve respect and loyalty regardless. I left my former life in my former town. You would be best off continuing and giving some introspection some thought. You are simply a very insecure man getting old and would benefit from having a young woman at your side. Goodbye. Update 2. The 3rd of March. Many of you have asked me what he said. He answered within 1 hour of my emailing him. He stated he would always wait for me since no matter what, I will always be his baby doll, and he was dumb enough to believe I would still wait for him. I gave a hard cring. He used to call me that, but these days it feels repulsive. My sister and mother sent emails as well. Just congratulating me. My mother expressed excitement about her becoming a grandmother. Saying she will be the cool aunt, my sister likewise followed the same. These individuals truly betrayed me and forgot how they treated me when I needed them. Having been reading your comments, I grieved for a long period since it seems like the man groomed both my sister and me. I feel absolutely foolish. Though she was mature enough to know it's immoral to have an affair with a married guy, especially someone who is your sister's husband, I know I shouldn't be angry with her. I filtered every one of them. Already 5 months pregnant. I don't need extra tension. God bless my spouse. He later drove me to ice cream and comforted me when I started to cry. I want to be past this. Update. I guess I could write a more detailed update because I cooled down now. I needed it, so thank you to everyone for your support. Like a locomotive, the email from my ex suddenly hit me. I could see all he has done to me flashing back. You folks really deserve a thorough update. As I indicated in my last post, he responded within an hour following the return email I gave him. 2 further emails from my sister and mother arrived a few hours later. They forwarded them to my old email account, which I barely use today. I strive to keep a low profile. I have no idea how they learned about my pregnancy. I have not uploaded my baby bump pictures on social media or made any announcements yet. I just follow friends on Instagram, but it terrifies me. I started bawling on the spot. Fortunately, Tony, my husband, was here. He held me, then laid me on the couch. He is totally familiar with me. I never covered anything from him. I worried a little bit about my sisters and mom's finding of me. He comforted me knowing that I live hundreds of miles from them. We live on the other side of our nation, after all. To ease me, he brought me for ice cream. Funny, it took 2 ice cream cones to at last help me relax. I informed him about my worries and that my sister and mother could insist to see my baby, a girl. To be on the lookout for them, he claimed he would chat to his police officer uncle. He will fight for it even if they visit here and press themselves on me. He told me not to worry about my ex, he is going to discuss this with his friend, a lawyer. He cannot damage me anymore. Even now my husband joked that he would migrate countries should he have to. Finally, someone on my post advised me to let the daycare know about my mother and sister should they attempt to abduct my child. Not that we intend to send her to childcare. I decided I would quit my job and take care of my baby and concentrate on healing from giving birth even though I am working right now. This is my own choice. I do have some reasonable savings in my personal bank. When our little princess is somewhat older, I will return to work. My in-laws are very remarkable. Living nearby are my Mill and Phil. They both are decent people who could assist with my child. You should not worry as well. Apart from my in-laws, I have a decent support system as well. Basically, Tina and her friend Jenny adopted me. Funny. They constantly supported me and are truly nice individuals. Though I have no idea what the future holds, at least I am surrounded by some decent people I never knew growing up. I shall now take your leave and enjoy my spouse treating me. I will keep you folks informed should something major occur. Blocked are my mother, sister and ex-partners. Not one update has come since. Second story. My husband's nephew rested his hand on me while asleep. Tell anyone, this entire family will be destroyed. The godson and nephew of my husband is 17. For a month my husband received a job offer abroad. We live in a house, and my sister-in-law, husband's sister, advised me to stay with them in their guest room as I felt uneasy being alone in the house. Even with me coming from a shattered home without family to adore me, especially his oldest sister, 47, I love my husband's family, a large, loving family that took me in and accepted me with open hearts and arms. I am 32 and my hubby is 41. Living with my sister-in-law was great. Apart from missing my spouse, who I spoke with a few times a day, everything was going perfectly. Being a night owl, I stayed in the living room binge-watching House of the Dragon when everyone went to bed yesterday. I probably nodded out on the couch. Later on when I woke up, my nephew's hand was under my shirt. I shoved him away but he held my mouth and pulled me back on the couch. A few times he struck me hard, telling me to stop moving. I swung a cola glass I had on the coffee table against him. My sister-in-law came downstairs after hearing him grunting in agony. She began battering him and shoving him away. She asked him to visit the guest house, and she followed him most likely to check his head damage since he was bleeding. Later on, she returned and showed me to the bathroom. I had cut my hand with the glass and had peed myself. Later on she stayed with me in the room and handed me sleeping drugs. Today at midday I woke up. Everyone but my sister-in-law was away. Every bit of warmth has disappeared. She said she was quite let down by me. I used her son even though she invited me into her house. She saw everything. She knew the truth, I told her. She said she saw nothing and that nobody would have believed someone like me. She wondered whether breaking this family on my conscience would be on line with my values. She blocked my path when I wanted to depart since what would the family say? I vowed I wouldn't say anything, then started to cry and asked her to let me go. I'm home now and not sure what to do. My husband will be destroyed from this. His family is his pride and jewel in life. He adores them. Suppose he hates me for shattering his family and tarnishing their name. Worse, supposing he doesn't believe me. 3 weeks from now he will be home. By then most likely the black eye will have disappeared. Edit. I apologies. I messed his age. He will be turning 16 in a few months, he is 15. I produced poor arithmetic. Edit 2. I appreciate you answered. I apologize for not answering every query. I should say that lately I spoke with my husband. For him, the regular planned phone call before bed is, But I simply broke down crying and told him everything. FaceTimed me and saw my face. He never likes me to be home alone, hence he told me to prepare a suitcase and wait for his friend to come pick me up. After little more than a year of marriage, my husband and I have been living in this city, his hometown, for a few months. Here I know not many people. Still, he advised me to live with his friend and his family. Good people are those they are. Tomorrow he is flying back here. Thank you. I apologize once more for not being able to respond to everyone. Update. Hi everyone, this is a throwaway account. I got much of encouragement when I wrote here earlier. I owe 100% to the online community for which I followed the right course and informed my husband. If it were up to me and my own ideas I would have just kept this private and tried to go on. I do not want to read all the disgusting and abusive DMs like the ones I received from my first article, hence I will not respond any DMs. I would gladly respond to your comments here, but following this update I am removing this account as well. I would wish to respond to a couple inquiries. First one, a query on my most recent update. Why did my husband believe me without asking questions? Many conjectured that my spouse wasn't very astonished since he presumably knew something about his nephew. No, I asked him this. He simply believes me, not noticing the injuries on my face. I have never given him any grounds not to believe or trust me. Why would my spouse advise me to live with the family of his friend? Many asked why I wasn't independent enough to live on my own alone. To me this is a brand new town. Coming from a large city with people all around to go to a smaller village as living alone in a large house changed me greatly. I was uneasy, hence my husband advised me to live with his sister and get close to my new family. After what happened though, I returned home. The acts of his nephew stunned my husband, and to be honest, he had no idea what to anticipate from his parents or nephew anymore. He didn't want me alone as he was afraid they might hurt me. He insisted that I kept his family in dark about where I was also. He was just afraid. I apologize for also mistaking his age. Born November 06, he will turn 16 shortly. I made him 17 by doing the arithmetic wrong. The next day following my post, my husband arrived home late in the afternoon. Seeing him now makes me happier than it did years ago. He told his sister he was on his way when phoning her. He looked to have been crying when he returned home. He urged me to pursue charges, but only if I wanted. He questioned whether I wanted to do it. She tried to point the finger on me when he was at his sister's, but he advised her to cease the bullshit. If she truly loved her son, he questioned her why she wasn't more concerned about him, the way he progressed to overpowering a sleeping family member. He also wanted her to explain why she handed me sleeping drugs. About that, I have no idea why I grabbed them. I recently did. Since childhood I have sadly always followed those I considered to have control over me. She said she couldn't help me relax as I was having panic attacks. She still thought I came on to him though, and denied that her son had behaved in such manner. When my husband spoke with his nephew as well, he was disappointed to see that he showed almost any regret or affectivity at all. He never even offered an apology. I hit him. He said he was attempting to wake me awake as the couch wasn't comfortable. We have written a report. Not much more I could do. To be honest, I wanted it to be out there even if I don't see anything coming of it. The brother of my spouse called to shout at him. Starting with the smear campaign, they have already my spouse shared with them my side. I'm not sure the person they decide to believe. 6 siblings make up my husband's family. We will have to watch this develop. My spouse doesn't particularly want to damage his nephew, who is still a child. He feels he needs aid, but not the kind his parents are providing, enabling him. He also expressed the feeling that many of you have. This lad will do it once more most likely, and I wasn't first. He loves him very deeply, thus it hurts him. But he has to tell others what he is capable of doing to safeguard their families. Over past few days, my hubby has been quiet and aloof. About that, I had no idea what to do. Simply said, I felt somewhat ashamed. I wasn't sure if I should ask his pardon and apologize to him for souring his relationship with his beloved sister and her family. He looked shocked at me when I at last plucked the bravery to do it. He started to cry and admitted he was the one sorry. He saw himself at last providing the large family I had always dreamed of. He held me. I have nothing about my family. I sobbed in his arms. Right now, we are not sure what will happen. Our plans call for us returning to the large city. About my new employment, I have no idea what to do. After few months, I have to stop. Since I teach preschool, it should not be difficult for me to get a new job or retrieve my former one. Still thanks once more. I doubt I will be posting going forward. I simply want to move on and heal. My mom favored my sister and ignored me. In the end, my perfect sister ran off with mom's money, leaving her devastated. I was 23 years old and lived at home with my mom, 52 years old, and older sister, 26 years old. This manner of life persisted after my dad's death 5 years ago. Emma, my sister, was mom's favorite from the beginning. Anyone who spent even 5 minutes with our family could see this. It wasn't just me. When she was a kid, Emma was the center of attention and the recipient of all the newest fashions and technology. Even though mom never missed an Emma school function, she would make up an excuse like, "I'm too tired," or "I have to work late," whenever I asked her to attend my own. Eventually, I grew accustomed to the pain. There was little change as we aged. While Emma attended a prominent university to get a law degree, I got my associate's degree in graphic design from a small college. Emma was the object of mom's incessant boasting. "My Emma is going to be a big-shot lawyer one day," she would proudly proclaim. All the while, people either didn't care or were downright disappointed by my chosen work path. However, the true problem wasn't merely favoritism, it was the unequal allocation of domestic duties. I was supposed to handle all the housework since Emma was supposed to be studying. When I say all, I really do mean it. I would begin my day at 6 o'clock every morning. Making breakfast would be my first order of business. Emma favored a vegetable omelet accompanied by a serving of fruit, while mom liked her eggs cooked to perfection with toast and no crust. In my regular state, I would hastily seize a granola bar for my own consumption. Before going out to my part-time job at a nearby coffee shop, I would tidy up the kitchen, wash the dishes and begin a load of laundry after breakfast. Despite mom's lack of request, I worked there to help out around the house and save up for my own place. I would do everything from dusting to mopping, vacuuming, and everything in between as soon as I got home in the afternoon. Meal planning and grocery buying were also my responsibilities. This was never easy because both mom and Emma had very specific nutritional needs. Even the dinner was a show. While Emma sat on the couch, fiddling with her phone, I would whip up extravagant dinners. Talking to her mom about her day, school, and future goals was a regular occurrence. Word of mouth would be an uphill battle for me. Guess who had to do the dishes after supper? I am, once again. Mom would give me a disapproving look and say things like, "Your sister needs to focus on her studies," whenever I ventured to complain or ask for assistance. One day, she will have a prosperous life and be able to provide for all of us. Assisting around the house would be the bare minimum you can do. Emotionally and physically, it was draining. While Emma was free to unwind and have fun, I felt like a housekeeper in my own house, rushing around all the time. Worst part was that mom was completely unconcerned with my attempts. From that point on, it was Emma this, and Emma that. Things reached a boiling point on a certain day. I was hoping to reconnect with some college pals that day, because it was a Saturday. Our design class was going to have us work on a collaborative project. The opportunity to leave the house and engage in social interaction that did not include serving coffee or doing chores was more than enough to make me look forward to it all week, and not only because of the project. As is my habit, I got up bright and early to finish my errands before I left. My mom walked into the kitchen just as I was preparing breakfast. "Oh great, you're awake," she remarked. "Today, I'm counting on you to give the living room a good scrub. We need to scrub the carpet and remove and wash the curtains." My chest ached. "But Mom," I said, "today I am scheduled to..." "Remember when I told you about our group project?" Mom scowled. "You can reschedule, right? Do not overlook this. Next week we have company coming over, and I would like the house to be spotless." In an effort to maintain composure, I inhaled deeply. "We will have to reschedule. This has been in the works for weeks. Perhaps Emma could pitch in and clean a little." It was almost 10 in the morning when Emma, seemingly at a whim, strolled into the kitchen still dressed in her pajamas. "Morning," she said with a yawn as she reached for a muffin from the platter I had just placed. Turning to Emma, Mom's expression softened. "Hello there, darling. Had a good night's sleep? Rest assured, there will be an online study group meeting later on." With a muffin still in her mouth, Emma nodded. Mom redirected her gaze to me, her face becoming even more stern. "Your sister needs to get some serious schoolwork done. No one should expect her to clean. Her education is of the utmost importance to you." Something inside of me snapped. Every bit of pent-up resentment, animosity and pain finally burst forth. "And what about my education?" I spoke more loudly as I inquired. "What will happen to my plans? This is my life. Isn't their significance immense?" Mom appeared surprised, to which she responded, "Of course they matter, but..." I interrupted her. "But it's still not equal to Emma's, is it? Never on par with Emma's." Finally speaking up was Emma, who had been observing this discussion with wide eyes. Stop including me in this, please. When mom wants you to help out around the house, it's not my fault. I was already furious before that. Although you have never once offered to lend a hand, please don't take this personally. Sit back and enjoy the ride. Mom made an effort to step in. Now let's all calm down, there's no need to. Still, I was feeling very well at the moment. I was helpless as years of suppressed feelings finally broke out. No more settling down for me, Mom. I've had enough of being the housekeeper. Treating me like Emma is beneath me and I'm sick of it. Everything, including the partiality and unreasonable expectations, has had enough of me. I looked across at Emma. Why does Mom never ask you to help out with housework? Her reasoning is that she believes you have great potential to become wealthy and provide for her in the years to come. It's quite the burden, isn't it? But well, at least I'm doing all the work, so you can relax. Redness spread across Emma's face. You can't be fair. My education are a top priority for me. And I don't? My response was a rapid one. In addition to schooling and taking care of the house, I'm working part-time. When will it be safe to think about the future? Again, Mom attempted to intervene. You are aware, my darling, that we value all that you do? The difference is that Emma's chosen profession will, in the end, pay off more handsomely. A slap in the face was the feeling I got from such remarks. Is that all? Is the amount of money I could make in the future the only thing that matters to this family? Mom swiftly reversed her course. No, it is not my intention. Compared to what you're studying, a job in law offers more stability. Coloring and design, Mom. One of my majors is graphic design. Is it so important that you've taken the time to research my life goals and aspirations? I knew exactly what to do based on Mom's expression. She was unconcerned. Without ever truly comprehending it, she had dismissed my career path. I pushed back the tears that threatened to well up in my eyes. At this very moment, I would not weep. What do you think? That's it. Today I will not be cleaning the living room. I intend to get down with my pals and get some stuff done on my project. Plus, I'm leaving the house until we have a serious talk about how things work here when I return. I then snatched my suitcase and bolted from the kitchen, leaving Mom and Emma standing there in disbelief. A strange feeling of relief mingled with fury and hurt as I banged the front door shut behind me. I had finally spoken out for myself after what felt like an eternity. The remainder of the day slipped my mind. In an effort to forget about the argument from earlier, I got together with my pals and dove headfirst into our project. The day progressed though, and uncertainties began to arise. Did I react too strongly? Had I been self-centered? Perhaps I should have simply rearranged my plans and cleaned up as Mom requested. Note, I got back to my house that night, emotionally and intellectually drained by the day's events, but still intent on keeping my word and having that serious talk. But the tension was palpable the moment I stepped through the door. When I walked into the living room, neither Mom nor Emma gave me a second look. With some hesitation, I spoke up and asked, "Hey, can we talk?" No sound. Both of them peered intently at the television, but it was clear that neither of them was paying attention. I gathered my courage, inhaled deeply, and chose to go ahead anyhow. Listen, I get that you had a long morning, but I feel like we have to talk about this. Emma, all I'm asking is that you pitch in a bit more with the housework. I would feel more comfortable if we were treated fairly. Mom finally turned to look at me, her face showing no emotion. I think you've said quite enough already. Emma interjected, her tone betraying her contempt. Indeed, your voice was clearly audible to us earlier today. You're envious of my future prospects and me. How egocentric are you? I was hit square in the stomach. Is it egocentric? Asking for aid isn't selfish in any way. Grandma scowled. It's like you're breaking the silence in this house. Her education should be Emma's top priority. You're simply envious because you're aware that your small pastime won't be very successful. Hobby. I said it again, my jaw dropping. Graphic design is a real career, Mom, if you'd ever bothered to learn about it. Enough, Mom interrupted me. I won't have you disrespecting us like this in our own home. Abashed, I remained still. It had been my sincere wish that they would have considered my words and come to terms with how unfair things had been. Nevertheless, they redoubled their efforts. Our very own home, I murmured again. I see. I suppose it's no longer my home. I retreated to my room after saying nothing further. I returned outside after stowing a few articles of clothing and necessities in a bag and retrieving my laptop. Mom and Emma continued to stare fixedly at me from the living room. I'll be at Sarah's, I texted, mentioning my college best buddy. I'll come back for the rest of my stuff later. Relieved and heartbroken all at once, I slammed the door behind me. Unfortunately, I needed some breathing room to figure out what to do next, so I resorted to this temporary measure. Unlike at Sarah's, I wouldn't be made to feel like an inferior or treated like a maid. I have no idea what the future holds, but I am certain that I'm entitled to better than this. I should begin to believe that now. Update. I must admit, leaving my family home has been an eye-opening experience. It has been approximately 3 months since I made the move. My friend Sarah has been my roommate, and we've been dividing up the rent and housework evenly. Everything I do on a daily basis has changed. Since I no longer have to worry about taking care of the house, I've had more time than ever before to devote to my education and my emerging profession as a graphic designer. I've interned at a regional marketing agency, finished a number of freelance jobs, and am now building my portfolio. When you're not worn out from being a maid for other people, you can do so much. However, unexpected events do happen in life. While grocery shopping last week, I unexpectedly ran into Mrs. Johnson, our neighbor. She looked worried and wanted to know how I was doing before she inquired about Mom. Evidently, she had observed Mom's recent struggles and apparent overwhelm while tending to the yard. According to Mrs. Johnson, your mother insisted she was fine, despite her offer of assistance. I was under the impression that Emma was assisting her. A wave of shame and anger washed over me. Obviously Emma was making everything worse. Since when would she begin? The most shocking thing, though, wasn't even that. In her usual gossipy but well-intentioned manner, Mrs. Johnson spilled yet another bombshell. And how is Emma's academic progress coming along? I pray that the incident involving Professor Andrews has not had a significant impact on her. Mrs. Johnson's eyes expanded, so I must have appeared perplexed. Oh no, I guess you were aware. Professor Andrews and Emma have been spotted all over town together quite a bit. There has been discussion. Feeling disoriented, I thanked Mrs. Johnson and limped out of the store. My ideal sister Emma was careening around with a professor instead of concentrating on her promising legal career. The neighbors even took note and started chatting about it. So it must have been really major. I was unhappy most of the time, but there was a twisted satisfaction in there somehow. The golden child wasn't all that golden after all. It broke my heart to see Mom trying to get everything done that I used to do on her alone. Tragic for Emma, who put her career in jeopardy for a professor's romance. I felt terrible for our family since it appeared like everything was coming to a crumbling end without me. Given this data, I am unsure of my next steps. While a part of me longs to make amends and reach out, another part recalls the pain and years of inferiority and questions whether it's worthwhile. My personal development and recovery are my current priorities. Self-worth and my chosen profession are becoming more apparent to me. A life where my worth is recognized and my efforts are valued is something I'm working toward. Perhaps Mom and Emma will come to terms with what they've lost in due time. Perhaps they will not. I used to try so hard to win their favor, but now that I'm on my own, I recognize that it was a mistake. The circle of life always seems to close, doesn't it? When I finally felt like I had things under control 6 months later, life decided to throw me another curveball. My phone rang on a peaceful Sunday night while I worked on a freelancing assignment. Yeah, Mom. Since my departure, we hadn't had many conversations, so I was hesitant to respond. My mother's inconsolable wailing greeted me when I took up the phone. Mom, what's wrong? My pulse pounding, I inquired. She choked out, Emma's gone, as she sobbed. She took the most of my savings when she ran off with a boy from her university. The sensation was as if someone had doused me with icy water. Hearing that Emma had done something so careless and damaging was upsetting since, despite everything, she was still my sister. I'm coming over, I announced, hastily retrieving my keys. My heart nearly burst at the sight of my childhood house when I arrived. Compared to the spotless home Mom had usually kept, the house was in utter disarray. Even though it had just been a few months, Mom appeared to have aged significantly. She started crying again the second she laid eyes on me. I couldn't make sense of the conflicting feelings coursing through me as I comforted her while she sobbed. Mom gave me a glance with crimson-rimmed eyes once she cooled down. I've been so foolish, she whispered. The last several months have really enlightened me. I was completely mistaken on a lot of things, including you and Emma. She grasped both of my hands. Even though you were the reliable one who I could always rely on, I failed to recognize your worth and instead treated you like a commodity. My deepest apologies, my love. My own eyes started to brim up with tears. I never imagined I would get this kind of recognition, yet here it was. I want you, even though I know I don't deserve it, Mom went on to say. Are you thinking about returning home? Trust me when I say things are going to change. Looking at Mom, vulnerable and sincerely sorry, made me realize I couldn't turn my back on her, no matter how much I wanted to deny in order to shield myself from more harm. "All right, Mom," I whispered. "I'll come back, but things really do need to be different this time." A wave of relief swept over her as she enthusiastically nodded. "They will be, I promise." Now I find myself back in my childhood home. It's weird, unsettling, yet somehow soothing all at once. My mother and I are working on improving our communication and mutual appreciation. My graphic design work has captured her attention, and she has even asked me to teach her the basics. Collaboratively, we are cleaning up the house and resolving the financial crisis that Emma caused. It's challenging, but we're making it work. We have not received any communication from Emma. She has my deepest sympathies, and I pray she is safe, but I can't shake the rage she inspired. Thanks to Mom's understanding, I'm able to keep up with my internship and freelancing job. Finding that sweet spot is going to take some time, but we're getting there. What is ahead is completely unknown to me. A part of me is still cautious, still trying to keep my emotions under check, but I also have hope. Perhaps this is the opportunity for a new beginning that our family has been seeking. For the time being, it suffices. It's not the happily ever after I had envisioned, but it is real. My spiteful sister-in-law accused me of stealing her diamond ring, but when this was revealed, she wasn't ready for the shock. I, 29F, have been married to Shane, 31M, for 5 years. We have a solid connection and a comfortable lifestyle. Shane has a sister, Tori, 33, who has been married to Mike, 35, for 8 years. Tori and I never really got along. Tori appeared to dislike me ever since Shane introduced me to his family. At first, I assumed it was simply because she was protective of her brother, but as time passed, I understood there was more to it. I was raised in a middle-class family. My parents worked hard to support me and my siblings. We never had luxuries, but we always had what we needed. I went to college on scholarships and worked part-time jobs to cover my expenditures. Following college, I took a job at a technology company and worked my way up. Tori, on the other hand, hailed from an affluent household. She never had to worry about money and received everything she desired. She attended an expensive private college before marrying Mike, who was also from a wealthy background. Tori didn't work and spent her time shopping, visiting spas, and attending social gatherings. When Shane and I began dating, Tori made it apparent that she did not think I was suitable for her brother. She'd make snarky remarks about my clothing, employment, and background. Despite the fact that Shane was seeing me, she was constantly trying to match him up with her wealthy friends. Despite Tori's attitude, Shane and I married. Our wedding was simple yet gorgeous. We paid for it ourselves and held a small ceremony for close friends and relatives. Tori complained about everything at the wedding, including the food and decor. She even donned a white outfit, which I chose to overlook to avoid the controversy. Shane's career skyrocketed following our marriage. He was promoted numerous times and began earning a decent salary. We were able to buy a wonderful home and go on vacation. This seemed to aggravate Tori's jealousy. She was constantly comparing our life to hers, always attempting to outdo us. Last month, Shane's parents invited the entire family to spend the weekend at their lake house. I didn't want to go because of Tori, but Shane persuaded me that it would be beneficial for family bonding. The first day went fine. We all arrived on Friday evening and dined together. Tori rarely spoke to me, which was okay with me. On Saturday morning, we had a swim in the lake. After lunch, Tori recommended we all play board games. Tori continued to show off her beautiful diamond ring while we were playing. She made a great deal about how pricey it was and how her father had surprised her with it on their anniversary. I complimented the ring politely, but Tori simply rolled her eyes. Later that afternoon, I decided to have a nap. I was fatigued after driving and swimming. I walked to the guest room Shane and I stayed in and fell asleep. I awoke about an hour later to shouting. I walked downstairs and discovered Tori screaming and crying. She yelled that her diamond ring was missing. Everyone was attempting to calm her down and help her find it. Tori was turning the living room upside down, tossing cushions and peering beneath furniture. Tori then pointed at me and cried that I had taken her ring. She claimed I was envious of her ring and wanted it for myself. I was astonished and rejected it right away. Shane defended me, stating that I would never do such a thing. Tori stated that I was the only one who had been alone in the house while everyone else went outdoors. She insisted that I empty my pockets and show her my baggage. I felt ashamed, but I did everything she wanted to establish my innocence. The ring was not present, but Tori was dissatisfied. To my dismay, Mike chimed in and accused me of hiding the ring somewhere. He stated I must have done it out of envy and recommended we check our room. I could not believe what was happening. I looked to Shane's parents for help, but they were apprehensive. Shane's father suggested that we all search the house thoroughly. We looked everywhere for hours and couldn't find the ring. As time passed, I noticed uncertainty creeping into everyone's eyes. Even Shane's mother, who had always been friendly to me, gave me skeptical looks. By dinner time, the mood was terrible. Tori was still crying, and Mike was soothing her while staring at me. Shane's cousins were whispering amongst themselves, and I could sense their accusing eyes. The breaking point came when Shane's father pulled him aside. I overheard him instructing Shane to man up and make me return the ring or pay for it. He claimed the ring was worth hundreds of dollars, and Tori was upset. Shane lost his temper. He yelled at his father, stating he couldn't believe his own family would accuse him without evidence. He exclaimed that I was innocent and Tori had probably misplaced the ring. This resulted in a heated argument, with everyone taking sides. I felt terrible. I couldn't believe what was occurring. My husband's family treated me like a criminal even though I had never stolen anything in my life. Shane grabbed my hand in the middle of our quarrel and told me we were leaving. He informed his family that he was upset with them for leaping to conclusions and mistreating me. We packed our stuff quickly and went, despite his parents' objections. Shane was seething as he drove home. He repeatedly apologized to me, claiming he couldn't believe his family would do this. I was astonished and didn't know what to say. I felt bad for fostering this schism in Shane's family, even though I knew I had done nothing wrong. When we arrived home, Shane's phone was swamped with messages from his relatives. Tori demanded we pay for the ring. Mike had sent me a lengthy text accusing me of wrecking their lives via jealousy. Shane's parents asked him to be reasonable and return to work things out. Shane blocked all of their numbers that night. He said he didn't want to speak with any of them until they apologized to me, but I could tell how much this was hurting him. He adored his family, and this split was tearing him apart. A week has gone by, but the situation has not improved. Tori has been posting on social media about how I took her valuable anniversary gift. Some of Shane's extended family members have contacted us, encouraging us to do the right thing and pay for the ring to maintain peace. I am at a loss. I know I didn't take the ring, but I can't prove it. Shane trusts me, but I can see the toll it is having on him. He has lost weight and is not sleeping properly. He's even thinking about changing careers so we can relocate to another place and escape all of this stress. Part of me wonders if we should just pay for the ring to put this all behind us, but it's a lot of money, and more importantly, it would be admitting to something I didn't do. I'm afraid if we give in now, Tori will keep this over my head forever. I never wanted to come between Shane and his family. Regardless of our differences, I hoped Tori and I would eventually get along. Now it appears that will never happen. I do not know what to do. Should I maintain my innocence, even if it means Shane loses his family? Should we pay for the ring to maintain peace? How can I prove I didn't steal something when there is no evidence either way? This entire affair has been a nightmare. I've lost sleep, can't concentrate at work, and am constantly anxious. Shane swears he'll always support me, but I can tell this is causing him pain as well. So Reddit, should I admit to stealing a ring that I did not take or pay for? How would you handle my situation? How can I resolve this situation without jeopardizing my integrity? Update. It's been 3 months since my previous post, and a lot has happened. I never anticipated things to turn out the way they did, but I'm glad the truth is now out. 2 weeks after the incident at the lake house, Leah, Shane's cousin, called me. She stated that she had some information about Tori's missing ring and wanted to meet me in person. I was hesitant at first, but Leah argued that it was necessary. The following day, we met in a small cafe. Leah appeared anxious and kept looking around, as if she was frightened someone would overhear us. She informed me that she had heard something unexpected from Angela, Ethan's girlfriend. Ethan was Mike's best friend. Angela told Leah that Mike had removed Tori's ring. Mike and Ethan had apparently entered into a business deal with a loan shark. They borrowed a significant quantity of money, but instead of investing it, they used it all to gamble and party in Las Vegas. When it came time to repay the debt, they were broke. In desperation, Mike took Tori's ring and sold it to help pay off the debt. He then used the family gathering to stage the ring's disappearance and blamed me. I was stunned. I couldn't believe what I heard. Part of me was happy that I wasn't insane and hadn't taken the ring, but another part of me was angry and upset that Mike would do this to his own wife and then blame me for it. Leah stated that she did not know what to do with this information. She felt bad for keeping it a secret, but she was frightened of causing additional family problems. I thanked her for informing me and told her that I would handle it responsibly. When I arrived home, I told Shane exactly what Leah had said. At first, he was skeptical. He couldn't believe his brother-in-law would do anything like this, But as we discussed it, things began to make sense. We remembered Mike's uneasy demeanor throughout the ring incident and how quick he was to accuse me. Shane decided to do some digging. He began by contacting some of Mike's old college pals and discovered that Mike had a gambling history that he had kept hidden from his family. Mike's acquaintances reported that he had recently been in financial problems. Then Shane hired a private detective. It took some time, but the PI eventually tracked down the loan shark from whom Mike had borrowed money. The man acknowledged that Mike and Ethan had taken out a loan and had recently made a partial repayment with a diamond ring. Shane was infuriated. He wanted to face Mike right away, but I advised him to acquire additional proof first. We didn't want this to become another situation in which our word was against theirs. Shane labored tirelessly for weeks to develop a case. He obtained bank statements that showed big transactions from Mike and Tori's joint account around the time of their Las Vegas trip. He discovered credit card statements containing charges from casinos. He even obtained security camera footage from a pawn shop showing Mike selling the ring. Shane convened a family meeting after we had collected all of the evidence. He assured everyone that they were going to talk about the ring issue and try to move ahead as a family. Tori and Mike consented, possibly believing it was an opportunity for me to finally confess. I was quite nervous on the day of the meeting. Shane's parents hosted it in their home. When we arrived, everyone was already present. Tori gave me a chilly glance, while Mike avoided eye contact entirely. Shane began by thanking everyone for coming. He stated that the ring event had created a great deal of pain in the family, and it was time to clear the air. Then he dropped the bombshell. He knew exactly what had happened to the ring. The room became silent. Tori looked perplexed, as Mike turned pale. Shane then proceeded to put forth all of the evidence we had collected. He handed them the bank statements, credit card bills, and pawnshop film. He even had Ethan on speakerphone and reluctantly corroborated the entire tale. As Shane spoke, the expressions on everyone's faces changed: shock, astonishment, and finally rage. Tori fell into tears and asked Mike if it was true. Mike broke down and confessed everything. He said he never intended for things to get this far, and he was going to find a way to get the ring returned. Tori was devastated. She couldn't believe Mike stole her ring and then blamed an innocent person. Shane's parents were surprised and ashamed. They apologized profusely for questioning me. Mike left the house in humiliation after the encounter, while Tori remained behind, too unhappy to join him. Shane's father hugged me and apologized for telling Shane to make me pay for the ring. Shane's mother was in tears, begging for my forgiveness. In the days that followed, I got calls and texts from several family members. They all apologized for believing I was capable of stealing and for treating me poorly. Some others brought flowers or gift baskets as peace gestures. Tori called me a week after our meeting. She apologized for blaming me and for all of the hurtful things she had said and done over the years. She revealed that she was always envious of me and my friendship with Shane. She announced that she was seeking for divorce from Mike and asked if we could start afresh. I was cautious at first, but I could detect genuine guilt in her voice. I told her I forgive her, but it would take time to regain trust. She understood and expressed her willingness to put in the effort. Mike moved out of their home and into a modest apartment. When his boss discovered the gambling and loan sharking, he was fired. Last I heard, he was going to Gamblers Anonymous sessions and trying to change his life. Shane and I had lengthy discussions about all that had happened. He felt bad about not believing in me more passionately from the start. I informed him that I realized how terrible the situation had been and that I valued his assistance throughout. We also talked about how we would handle our relationship with his family going ahead. We decided that while we would attempt to preserve positive ties, we would be more cautious about becoming involved in family issues in the future. The entire event drew Shane and I closer together. We discovered how strong our friendship was and how we could count on each other even when others doubted us. It also made us understand the value of trust and honesty in a partnership. Tori stuck to her word about trying to better our friendship. She began inviting me for coffee or lunch, just the two of us. At first, our chats were awkward and stiff, but we eventually discovered common ground. She spoke openly about her vulnerabilities and the pressure she faced growing up in a rich family. I told anecdotes of my own challenges and how I started my career from nothing. Things gradually began to shift. Tori stopped making nasty remarks at family events or attempting to outdo me. Instead, she was nice and even defended me when some of my more distant relatives mentioned the ring incident. Shane's parents went out of their way to make me feel comfortable and included. They would frequently call to check on me and ask us over for dinner. Shane's father even sought my guidance on some business things, claiming he valued my opinion. The ring was never recovered. We found out the facts after the loan shark had already sold it. Tori was disappointed at losing her father's present, but she claimed the event taught her that worldly possessions were less essential than trust and family. Leah, the cousin who initially informed me of Mike's conduct, became a good friend. She expressed admiration for how I handled the problem and wished she had been bold enough to speak up sooner. We began having frequent girls' nights out with some of our other cousins. The incident also influenced how I perceived myself. I realized that I had always felt nervous around Shane's family because of my history, but standing up for myself and revealing the truth gave me greater confidence. I knew I had earned my place in the family through my own efforts, not because of wealth or prestige. Shane and I had a lengthy talk about boundaries and family dynamics. We agreed that, while we would retain contacts with his family, we would be more aggressive about our own needs and boundaries. We also decided to begin seeing a couples therapist to work through some of the remaining stress from the entire experience. In an unexpected turn of events, Shane's company offered him a promotion that required us to relocate to another state. After considerable contemplation, we decided to take it. We saw it as an opportunity for a new beginning away from the lingering unpleasantness of the ring affair. We received different reactions from our relatives when we announced our decision. Some were saddened to see us leave, while others recognized our need for space. Tori, in particular, appeared unhappy, but stated that she supported our decision. She pledged to continue working on our relationship long distance. As we packed up our house and prepared to leave, I thought about everything that had happened: the false charge, the family turmoil, and the discovery of the truth. It all appeared strange. I never knew that a misplaced ring could cause so much havoc while also leading to so much personal progress. I learned significant lessons about advocating for yourself, gathering facts before making accusations, and the power of forgiveness. I also learned that family dynamics are complex and that it is acceptable to establish limits, even with kin. Shane and I are enthusiastic for our new journey in a new city. We're excited to start a new life free of the shadows of previous family dramas. We intend to visit during the holidays and stay in touch, but we also want to build our own customs and social circle. Tori and I had a rather emotional last talk before the relocation. She thanked me for giving her a second chance and promised to be a better sister-in-law and friend. She even joked about visiting us in our new city to show that she could have fun without her nice clothes and pricey jewelry. Looking back, I could not have imagined how things would turn out when I published my first post. Life has a tendency of shocking us, and the truth can be stranger than fiction. While I wouldn't wish the experience on anyone, I am happy for the growth and adjustments it has brought to my life and relationships.